Hello, my name is Nelson Air, and I'm here with my friend,
Very George.
and this is Let's Play Mega Man Battle Number 6, Cybeast Gregar. So, after last episode, I got the pass into the courthouse, I beat base, it's time to enter the courthouse and see what's up with this trial. I've demonstrated that I'm, really good at this game, so it's time to see if I'm still really good when it comes to, going into court and testifying. Because 11-year-olds totally notable for being good at, like, accusing people on the witness stand and stuff, right?
Meanwhile, the whole trial's been on hold because we had to fight our way through multiple areas of the net.
Yep. 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 They made it really inconvenient for anybody who has to show up to trial. That's why you gotta fill out the paperwork days in advance. Too bad we were told the day of. Oops. So yeah, this is Prosecutor Ito. He's gonna be our pal. He's gonna help prosecute this case here, and he knows about our dad. And he looks at our name and says, "Huh, you've got a really good name. Really good name." He's also done a background check. He's really jealous of our father.
Also, it could be just that Lan's dad is very notable, kind of a public figure in his own right, being, related to the person who developed modern net technology and being a prominent net scientist researcher in his own right. But I think it's just very funny that this is the first time that they had to justify how someone knows Lan's father. Normally he just kind of takes it on faith, like, oh yeah, everyone knows who my dad is. This is the first time he says, how did you know my dad?
I did a background check. I'm a lawyer. I'm supposed to do that. Yeah, it's kind of funny that Prosecutor Ito is like the one of the few guys who actually knows you well enough from doing some research to be able to, say things that are actually kind of important. But yeah, as Parrish said, like, Lan's grandfather was like one of the guys responsible for developing all the internet infrastructure, and his son, Yuichiro Hikari, our dad, was responsible for, like, developing emotional navies and other, like, crazy powerful research breakthroughs. And will Lan live up to that expectation? We'll see. I mean, he doesn't like to do his homework, so that's a real good start, but, we're...
Just gonna coat his family's fame forever.
Yep, yep. Just stick his nose into whatever's going on, cause some problems, solve some problems, it's the best way to go about it. It's also kind of funny here where, like, they've replaced the entire judge stand with just, like, this hollowed out part in the middle of the tree with a computer stuck in it, It's...
Yeah, it's too bad you can't get a real good view of it until the trial starts, but it's quite the reveal.
Yeah, well, we did it in a little bit here. Our next plot point requires us to do a thing.
There we go.
Yeah,
a very serious man's face on a TV screen slapped to a tree.
and the other fun thing is, like, outside in the Greentown Courthouse, there were two, like, paintings of this dude that I showed off where, like, yeah, these were father and son judges who were like, highly respected dudes at the time when we were setting the system up, and then, like, they just figured, like, it's best to take these guys and make them the face of the judge tree. I mean, that looks like a judge there. That's a really good, like, face for being a judge, but at the same time, it's just like, these guys were dead. We sort of took their faces without telling them. Also, oops, we've done something wrong.
Level 5 emergency.
Level 5, Code Red.
Why am I not surprised?
Yep. Anyone who tries to carve it will be removed in any way necessary. Like, Lan, why the heck did you think it was okay to, like, lean over that massive fence over the massive pit and smack the tree? What?
Don't tase me, bro.
Don't tase me, bro. Yeah, but we had the fire spouting security bots in the school, and now we have the electric bots here, which, like, makes a little bit more sense than being able to, like, conjure fire from inside them, but, this is still a bit much. Also, this
they're
guy's
really
back.
picking this guy up.
Yeah. it's amazing how this guy is so easily able to just like he knows exactly as much as everybody else, and is like he wasn't even there for when we captured the Cybeast, but he's still like, I know about it. The only people we know about that know about the Cybeast are the bad guys, and this guy's making himself look real sketchy here. Are you doing anything suspicious to the Dredge tree? After all, I do think this tree is a bit troubled.
Yeah, probably not a great thing to say to a prosecutor, when they have a strict regulation on the books to tase anyone who even mildly harasses the tree.
Yep. But hey, this guy's a badass. He can take out, 3 of these robots by jacking into them real quick. I mean, clearly he can handle it, I guess.
Man, wouldn't it be if he became a character later that we had to fight in a net battle?
Oh man, it'd be really rough. Really rough.
Yeah. Class A jobbing right there. Just, hyping this guy up to then, knock him down later and make the player feel like really good. Like, wow, I beat that powerful guy. But on the one hand, his boast about, man, you need faster skills. It sounds kind of odd when you presumably would fight a character like that later. And hey,
yeah,
but I beat, it's fine. My skills are fine enough.
Yeah, the nice thing about that guy and his Navi is they hold them back until the end, and when you can face them at the end, they are a suitable challenge. But other than that, the testimony's going alright. Blackbeard's not saying anything in his defense. He doesn't even have a defense lawyer. Like, he's chosen to represent himself, and he's not representing himself.
The punishment room for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah, like, every sentence requires being sentenced for a certain amount of time. And here he is. He's yelling that it's not part of the deal. He's saying he's going to send him to Davy Jones's locker. And he's saying that to the prosecution bench. Like, wow. Like, Greentown is even sketchier than I would have thought. Like, man, these guys don't even get, like, a time limit on the sentences? Wow.
Also, I have no idea what the punishment room entails, but it sounds like it's probably, at the very least, involving solitary confinement, which in and of itself is a ridiculously cruel and probably inhumane practice.
Yeah, we'll see the punishment room in action later. It gets its uses, but it's... Yeah, like, the fact that they just call it the punishment room instead of, like, jail or prison. There's a difference between jail and prison that I'm aware of exists, but I don't quite know the difference. The jail is, like, state or county level, right? And prison is federal, I think?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Jail can be used to describe a place for those awaiting trial or held for minor crimes, whereas prison describes a place for convicted criminals of serious crimes.
Okay, alright.
So, yeah, they have to put you in jail before they can put you in prison, essentially.
So Blackbeard just got himself put in prison, which is in the courthouse itself. Alright. Great, cool. So yeah, Miss Farron's wandered over. She has started her class on operating net navies and cooking. So, we're going to meet her Navi, which is a returning concept, I'm going to say, from the original Mega Man series. Slashman is her Navi. In the original, like, Mega Man 7, he was sort of a wild man kind of Navi. He lived in, like, a dinosaur preserve, like a robot dinosaur preserve, and he was, like, probably the hardest boss in Mega Man 7 here. But here in Mega Man Battle Network 6, yeah, he's a cook. He helps cook things, and he uses his knife hands to help prepare ingredients. So, this, in the Cybeast Falzer version, we have Tenguman instead, who's from Mega Man 8, and their scenario involves, like his operator is an old man like Master Sage, and he's like, "Oh, let's test your ability to see if you can collect all the leaves I've scattered through the area while these crows chase you down." And you don't get any of that with Slashman here. You just kind of have to, like, you just kind of gotta do a timing minigame. It's alright. Slashman is kind of weak because his charge attack is just throwing those kunai out and they do 20 damage. But aside from that, Slashman's kind of okay. The S code that his special chip is based around is really strong in this game, so he's at least got that going for him. But like when you stack up everything that Slashman does, he's probably the weakest like Link Navi out of all of them, unfortunately.
Also, did that Mr. Prog for the book just say, "I know all about cooking, leave everything to me"? Aren't you the Mr. Prog for this book that was described as a way to interpret paperwork for lawyers?
Look, we all
Why
gotta
are-
have hobbies.
Yeah, but why is he programmed to know everything about cooking? Was that relevant to a trial?
At some point, it must have been. I can only assume. But yeah, we got 5 seconds to cut this vegetable up, and here are 6 inputs. All right, here we go. If you get everything done in time, you get a bonus. So there's a little bit of incentive to do well because it means you have to play the minigame less. I like as I sort of started this, I was worried about like running out of time on these, but as I sort of noticed here, like, okay, I can do them all with 2 seconds remaining. It'll be fine, right? And then I sort of noticed going forward that hey, they're stepping like they're narrowing the time limit down. It starts at 5 seconds, goes down to 4, goes down to 3, and you can see how much time it takes me at the beginning of everything to just be like, okay, what are the inputs I need to hit? What's going on here? So, yeah, I shave it really close at some points. But yeah, this is the first example of what Link Navis can do to help. In some areas, there will be like trees or water spouts or tornadoes, and your Link Navi friends can remove those obstacles. There's a bunch of them spread all over the internet, and eventually we're going to have to truck to like the deepest, most dangerous part of the internet with every single Link Navi to clear them all out. But it's sort of a fun little interaction between like, here's what these special net navies can do, and here are all the obstacles they can take care of. So
It seems like compared to some of the things in game that they say are, this will really test your skills as an operator. To be fair, this one actually kind of does because, as you said, trying to get to this very difficult area to traverse in the first place with multiple navies that aren't as familiar to you as your own, that's a pretty fair assessment of your ability to operate.
yeah. And the other thing is, aside from their one special chip, most of these navies are weaker than Mega Man can be at that point. Some of the programs from the Navi Customizer will carry over onto these Link navies, but their maximum HP will cap out at 700 or 800, whereas Mega Man can get up to 1,000 before you start messing around with the Navi Customizer. So it's, yeah, it actually is a little bit difficult to get to the end of the internet with these guys. Something that was removed from this game was there was a special secret you could do by fighting a bonus boss with all of these Link navies in that deepest, most dangerous part of the internet, but it was removed from the American version of the game. Presumably because it was kind of difficult and kind of grindy, and you had to do that after everything else, which, bit of a pain, but yeah. The Link navies can be kind of fun to use since they have that utility, but it's recommended that you just choose somebody new for the situation that allows you to clear up barriers as you kind of need them, and otherwise just try your best to stick with Mega Man. So, since there's no purpose aside from like cleaning the barriers and story mandated points, it falls a little bit flat, which I'm a little disappointed by. But part of the reason this feature's even in the game in general is because of Mega Man Battle Network 5, where you had a team of navies helping to liberate the internet, and there was a minigame associated with it where you would control them all in a strategy RPG type setting, and it was kind of fun, but at the same time a lot of people really bounced hard off of it. So reducing the net navi inclusion while still maintaining them is, it just kind of is what it is. I'm sad to see it go, but at the same time, I understand entirely why it left.
Yeah, the requirements for how you had to play the liberation missions were a little bit frustrating for me when I first tried to get into it.
Yep.
Just because they set very specific requirements that, you have to beat this in 3 turns. That's all the chance that you get at virus busting. And if you're not competent at building up a good folder, or in your just combination of chips that you have stacking together, then you just don't do well at that particular scenario. And given that the liberation missions are a bulk of the game narrative, you have to be good at virus busting within that 3 time limit.
Yep.
Not to mention there are all sorts of other wrinkles they throw in where, if you want to do the best job possible, you want to try and liberate as many squares as possible on this tactical grid strategy layout that you mentioned. But if you're trying to do that, you're often putting yourselves in disadvantageous situations where you could be fighting in the middle 2 rows of the screen with enemies surrounding you on both sides.
Yep. Battle Network 5 has pincer attacks from Final Fantasy. Who could believe it?
Yeah. So specifically dealing with that on top of everything else, and having to try and deal with that to get the best outcomes possible, clear the liberation missions in as fast a time to hopefully get the most powerful chips from the boss navis controlling the areas, the Dark Lloids.
Yep.
And they say, oh, well, you don't have to do that your first time if you just want to breeze through it to get on with the rest of the game. But if you want to get those boss Navi chips, you'll have to do it at some point.
Yep.
And most people don't want to have to do the same liberation missions over and over again until they finally get their turn counter down far enough.
Yeah.
So it's just better to do it the first time.
And part of the other problem is, like, the way Battle Network 4 and 5 are structured is you only fight level 1 viruses for the entire game until they power up in the post-game or New Game Plus. And, like, that means your folder is garbage for a long time. So it's difficult to get these one-turn liberates to, like, do well at it. But yeah, we've talked a lot about another game, so this is Slashman. He sort of has the base intangibility as he just sort of moves around the field. But he likes to hop in front of you and give you some swipes, first in wide sword and then in long sword fashion. So generally what you want to do is, like, you want to wait until you want to let him move around a little bit and then take a step back, and then you hit him with a chip that can cover that distance. Other than that, he can do the tornado spin around the entire area. And then he has this attack where he just throws a bunch of kunais. You have to find the gap in them and leap through them. Also, I'm a little disappointed here that hitting him with the corn, like, immediately throws him back out of my face when I really want him to stay there and get hit by the corn. So that was a little frustrating to me. But Slashman has been defeated. We can now operate him whenever we want. The Slash Cross is really good. Any of the sword crosses across the games always sort of have been. The nice thing about Slash Cross is you can charge up sword attacks and then sort of throw them in a wave down the field, which alleviates the problem that most swords have, is that they're short range. The other nice thing about Slash Cross is that its charge attack hits a life sword area. It's sort of advancing like its charge attack with swords do. So it is Gregar's only method of attacking up and below itself with charge attacks. And that can come in really handy. Like, there was a point where I beat the final boss with just Slash Cross because of its special attack. So that's always fun to do. Also, hey, our dad's here to actually meet us home after coming home from court. That's cool. I also like how he takes his time to, like, go through the crosswalk when Lan clearly ignored it and just ran through the center of the street from the station to get to him.
Oh yeah, by the way, I was in court today.
Oh cool, tell me about over dinner. I also like how they sort of stop right before you get into the house. And now is when we get told about Slash Cross. But yeah, we're going to read this email about Slash Cross. We'll maybe talk to Dad about dinner and stuff. And then the episode's going to get called here. But yeah, this has been Let's Play Mega Man Battle Network 6. I hope you all have a nice day.
See ya.
I should pay much more attention to the timing. I think we've got 45 more seconds. I think it ends when he goes to bed. Whoops. I ruined another outro by calling it too early.